I just finished my deep dive of Port Antonio by J. Cole. And at its best, it's one of the greatest lyricists of our generation, asserting that he understands the consequences of his choices and has chosen a true path of purity, rather than participating in the very things that we claim is ruining the art of hip-hop. But at its work, it's a Jon Snow-like character who doesn't understand that he's the true descendant of royalty that we need to save hip-hop, right? But he doesn't want to opt and choose the path of violence and what it takes to actually do that. He's opting to choose freedom and peace instead. Remember, I told you, rap's like Game of Thrones. Let's keep deep diving. I mean, this isn't one of J. Cole's and one mixtape raps that he's been dropping lately, right? Just a highlight reel showing you, hey, listen, look how good I am with the basketball. Look, I can dribble, right? Look, I can rap. No, this one seems like it's filled with a lot of meaning, right? From the name of the record all the way to the samples that are being used on the record, right? The Cleo Soul sample, Know You Are Loved. A lot of meaning behind that. J. Cole saying, hey, no matter what choices you make, just know there are people that care about you, people that love you. You are loved, right? It reasserts that someone's worthy of love. And I'm not even quite sure why it has to reassert that, right? Because J. Cole didn't commit the worst crime known in hip-hop. No, that would be some of his colleagues who are pushing degeneracy, who are not pushing their pen forward in rap, and even the ones that are not pushing degeneracy and are pushing their pens forward are actually guilty of still battling and struggling with their ego. And I know this was relieving for J. Cole to get some of these thoughts off his mind, right? Because it's Port Antonio. And what we know about Port Antonio, right? It's a city in Jamaica, Northeast, right? Just as you can see, filled with tropical mountains, jungles, and waterfalls. Great scenery, relaxing scenery, right? He kind of moved his brain to this sort of free space, right? Not carrying all this heavy burden of rap anymore. And I know Cole had to get this off his mind because if you listen closely, you can hear his voice. It sounds like he's just coming off being sick, like maybe a little nasally. I mean, instead of just waiting his voice to recover all the way, no, he went on and he's like, I got to get these thoughts off. Now let's get into the lyrical deep dive, right? So at the beginning of the record, you see Cole recalling back to his younger days in the Ville, right? We look at some of these key words. The dwelling at the top of the Ville when my skeleton's locked. If I could do it all over, then I never would swap. I've seen good, I've seen bad. Had my melanin mocked. I've seen long line friends turn to devilish ops. I was Mike in red leather trying to tell him to stop. So Cole right now is speaking to his past in the Ville when he was younger. When he knew even back then to choose a different path. Because he knew the way to be the man back then was to sling pies, be the tough guy in the streets, maybe fronting and faking. And he was like, no, I remember being that guy that used to actually tell my friends, no, don't do that. And then I find some key words interesting here. Almost like he could have said these words in other ways, but he chose these words specifically. Things that are kind of speaking to us a battle of J. Cole and Kendrick, of Drake and Kendrick, I'm sorry. And there might be a reach because you guys know I hate trying to prove intent with rappers. I want to interpret the raps, but sometimes we got to go there. So I'll give you a disclaimer when I'm doing it, right? When he talks about his melanin being mocked, it reminds me of maybe what Kendrick was doing it to Drake, and he saw elements of that. When the Mike Jackson references, I know he's been using a lot of Mike references lately, but you remember Kendrick and Drake flipping lines like that back and forth? If no team draft king, he gonna bet on the block. That's a good, punchline metaphor type of thing going on. But even, remember on Meet the Grams, Kendrick saying Drake's out of gambling problems. So I'm not saying that this is exactly what J. Cole was thinking, but I just find these sort of parallels fascinating, right? So again, very good here. Now, another key thing, this is again, trying to prove intent, but this is the HQ reach, right? Reach and file HQK. I find it fascinating when he talks about when his father had left, but his mother found someone else, and their salaries combined. So it took him out of the hood, right? Moved to a suburban area, and he felt some of this guilt, right? This isn't too relevant to the Kendrick and Drake battle as a reference point here, but it goes back to my Game of Thrones Jon Snow theory, right? Reminds you of this guy, right? Remember, just kind of like a bastard with the dire wolf having the weakest, then being Ned Stark's bastard. Both sort of righteous beings looking for the best in life. He looked up to this guy, right? Because of Ned Stark, and he's able to go to a different environment. Although he's a bastard, still have a better life than most other bastards would have had, right? Just key stuff. Just stuff that I like find very fascinating. Then we switch here. The key part for me in the middle part was this Benjamin Button Cole's flows reverse time. So it's like, I know you're probably thinking, oh, he's saying that, oh, his flows are so good, they reverse time. He's getting better with age. No, not exactly. It could be a double entendre there, because I really want to reference this point for say, you know, when he says one thing's for sure, that I've matured from my first rhyme. So it's like Cole is telling you, hey, listen, although I'm getting better with age and whatever, but I remember those days, and I remember those days of running the Ville, trying to be the man, maybe seeing some of my friends pedal, you know, rocks, and I've matured from that. And shouldn't I be able to apply some of that maturity to this game now? And that's where we see that flip when he gets into the most controversial portion, the portions that everybody's talking about now. So if you've made it this far, here's where things get exciting, right? And he said, you know, he starts referencing, this part is really for Kendrick, right? They see the fire in my pen, they think I'm dodging smoke. I wouldn't have lost the battle dog, I would have lost the bro. There are a lot of people right now flipping things, agendas, I'm seeing it. Bad takes over TikTok, I'm seeing it. It's annoying. Let's really deep dive. When he said, I wouldn't have lost a battle dog, I would have lost a bro. You could interpret that if you think Cole's pen is that great. You could interpret that as saying, nah, I wouldn't have lost. You could interpret it as the intent. But you could also interpret it as, it's probably possible that he would have lost, but forget losing. That's not even what he's thinking about right now. He's thinking, win or lose, I would have lost a bro. A lot of people are harping on that a little bit too much and interpreting it as it could only mean J. Cole means I would have won, I'm better than these guys. No. Let's keep going. Then he starts referencing, let me not say y'all, us, talking heads, fans, all of us, aspiring artists, all of us. Props to strangers that don't got a clue what I've been aiming for. If that means, and this is another part where people are twisting it up. If that means I got to dig up dirt and pay the whole team of algorithm bot niggas just to sway the whole thing. Now I understand, especially K-Dot fans, I understand, because you remember like people like Joe Budden was saying, of course he used bots, and academics saying Kendrick used bots. You guys, you got to remember what Cole is speaking towards here is what I think guys like me even speak to us. Listen, in this game, it's nasty, and especially in battle or you're trying to push for #1 records, these are the staple things for your representatives and labels to do, right? Whether it's Drake or whether it's Kendrick. I expect, whether it's bots, streaming bots, whatever, I expect these little games to be played. That is what J. Cole is speaking to here. But if you think your Lord and Savior, whichever one is your favorite artist, is just really that above that, but is seeing these numbers, these magical numbers in this, you can't have your cake in it. You gotta, is it Uchi Wally Wally on one mic? What J. Cole is speaking to here, if you open your mind and listen, is that this is the way that game is played. He didn't want to play that game. He's not accusing a specific one of them. In fact, I could just say both of them are doing it. But anyway, on social media, competing for your favorite memes. Anyway, let's keep going. My friends went to war. I walked away, but they blowed on me now. Some would discredit me, try to wipe away my pedigree. But find a dude that's out here rapping this incredibly. And that's the key. Some of you lots are obsessed with rap insults as the way to prove you're the best. As though you can't just rap about one type of album to see who's better. If people are going to beef, guys, name one rap beef that hasn't peddled into insults and gotten aggressive and gotten worse. You know, there are a few of them, but we know how this game is played. Let's stop being disingenuous. Last important part where you actually name drops Drake. A lot of people are, why didn't you name drop Kendrick? Well, guess what? Kendrick has been radio silent. Kendrick has been radio silent since this man gave him what would be an apology. So if I would say, I will call you my bro, but I'm probably not going to deep it, right? My dog, and it could just be a rhyming thing, right? You guys. But anyway, this part I like, but I'm gonna move to the juicier part. My dog texted me and said words to me: if you refuse to shoot, don't mean a gun. And then he said, I guess in that metaphor, hypothetically, the gun is me. But I text him back like, a gun ain't what a gun ain't what I'm trying to be. Like, it's like, wait a minute, do I even want my pen to go into this realm, I'm not even sure that that's what I want to use my pen for. And he speaks into that and clarifies one thing. Drake, listen, I ain't ashamed to say you did a lot for me. A lot of people are like, oh, was that? Is that dig at Kendrick? I don't think it's that. I think a lot of people that are not on Kendrick's level that Drake has done things for, and they're acting like he's never done anything for them. That's weird. I think those are actually shots to those sub-rappers. And the last part, very important, right? It's speaking, tapping back. What is the point of all this? Tapping back into our magic pen, what's imperative. Reminding these folks why we do it. It's for speaking our thoughts, pushing ourselves, reaching the charts, reaching your minds. That is the point of the big three. Get back to it, okay?